am here today at Scott Russ Music, New and Used Musical Instruments. I'm going to be interviewing the owner of the store, who is also a Hammond music artist. I'm so excited. We've got him as a musical guest, and we're going to be interviewing him to ask him some questions. All right. Hi, my name and family. It is Stephanie Charles White with my special guest, Scott Russ, and we are here at Scott Russ Music all the way in New York. Hi, Scott. How are
I'm
you?
doing great.
Listen, Scott is a Hammond dealer, and we're just so honored to be able to come and be a part of this miraculous stores and all the stories behind this store. And can you tell the audience, like, what drew you to the Hammond organ? Like, what was the story behind that?
Well, when I was 4.5 years old, I played accordion. 5 years old, my dad got me into piano. And in the music store, a B3 came in when I was about 8. And I sat down at the B3, and my father turned it on and hit the Leslie on fast. I said, Dad, I love piano, but I want to play Hammond.
That is so awesome. Wow, and I understand that this store is family legacy. Can you speak more about the store and how long you guys have been in operation? And
Yeah, we've been in, my parents started about 80 years ago. 1947, my mom and dad were the original Ampeg amplifier company. My father invented the first commercially usable Ampeg bass amp. But let me regress a little bit before that. About a year or two before that, my father was a great bass player. He was the New York Philharmonic, had a Philharmonic scholarship, played with all the big bands, Duke Ellington, Stan Kenton. And they had a little mail order business called Apto, the Bassman's Friend. It was a kit for upright bass players to use all tools when you're on the road, especially in the 40s. You're on the road. There's not many shops. You're in the middle of the Midwest, and you got to know how to repair your own instruments. So it was a little kit that had every type of glue and everything you needed, extra set of strings to go on the road and repair your own instruments. Then they became the Ampeg company, worked for the owner. From 1956 to 64, we were the original service center for Fender for the East Coast of the United States. In 1965, my father invented, it's right over there, the Hackstrom 8-string bass guitar. That's the prototype in the glass case over there. I forgot, in 1955, we had the first patent on accordion pickups. My father invented the accordion pickup to make the accordion electric.
wow.
We did a lot of accordion repairs also, and we just were basically keyboards, big upright bass shop. My father's not a bass player. And at that point in the 50s and 60s, we also had pianos in our store because my father's partner was a piano technician. So I also did pianos at that time too. Now I'm strictly a Hammond guy.
Yes,
No
yes,
piano.
yes. How many years have you been playing the Hammond?
Well, oh my goodness, look at this. Hey, that's about 58 years.
Wow, wow. And out of all the competitors, what do you love about Hammond the most?
Well,
Even though we respect everybody else, but what do you love that makes Hammond that authentic Hammond sound?
well, the Hammond company, the Hammond organ, is just, it's a feel that you can't get anywhere else. And there are many competitors, and I'm dealers on a lot of them, and they're very good too for certain things. But if you want a true Hammond, and with the new Hammonds also with the other keyboards, as you've heard today, with the other sounds, that's what I use. I can use anything I want in the world, but I would always use Hammond. I mean, you know, and I do custom repairing on the vintage Hammonds also. But ever since they came out with the new SK line in 2011, that's when I strictly went to all Hammond on portables, and I've always been Hammond with the full subs.
Yes, well, one of the things I love about the Scott Russ shop is that I just love the genuine love and the genuine truthfulness that you give to all your customers, and it's just so much integrity that's wrapped around what you do. Can you talk more about how much integrity has gone into your brand and how it's made your family business just successful throughout decades and ages?
Well, my wife and I, she is amazing.
She is awesome.
She had, her parents were my biggest suppliers for many years. We always joke, 28 years ago, my biggest supplier drastically reduced my prices when I married his daughter, and prices went way down. And we just had such a passion for music. My father taught me when I was a kid, never give something to another person, especially a child, you wouldn't give to your own child. Make sure you do the right thing. Make sure, we're not here to sell an instrument or repair something. We're here to make a musical connection with people. We have our oldest customer just passed away at 105 years old.
Whoa.
He used to come in here, may he rest in peace, Bobby Ferrara. He was still playing up to almost the day he passed with the big band. There's a big band called the Golden Tones, and they they're retired musicians, and they have a big band. They play the first Wednesday of every week, every month, right here in Long Beach. And music kept him alive. I mean, he'd come in here at 104, he'd shuffle in, driving still.
Wow.
And we'd repair his sax and his clarinet. He'd pick up the sax and play all over the place. I said, that music stuff keeps you alive. He said, if it wasn't for that music, I'd be dead today.
Wow. Wow.
And he was there when I was born. He was a customer of ours when I was born.
Oh, that's incredible. Like, what would you tell this next generation of musicians and young people coming up about the diversity of music careers that exist and how, like, certain things are wonderful opportunities for young people to get involved beyond just being a musician?
Be true to yourself and get into the music. So many people cheat. I mean, it's great with technology. It's wonderful. But you have to learn real music and talk. Music is a language.
Yeah.
If you can, I can play any instrument in the world. Show me where the notes are and how to produce a sound, and I'll play you anything. Because my father, when I was young, my father taught me about the theory of music. And just show me where the notes are. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play Jingle Bells and the Flintstones on anything.
Yeah.
But for the upcoming, the young people coming up, sometimes it's so easy that they don't be creative. They just go with auto-tune and everything's AI and computerized. And back in the day when I was in the recording studios, when I first started, we did tape. You know, everything was analog. We cut tapes,
right. That's right.
And you can't sing out of tune. You better sing in tune.
That's right.
You better play the right part. You're gonna do a retake. You're not gonna, So
you can't take the funk out here. All right. Yeah. That's right. What would you say are some of your greatest musical memories?
There's so many. I had a music agency at 17, and I left the family business because I was on tour and everything until about 1990. I came back because my father was retiring, and he said, "I said, well, you should retire. I'll work half a day." It's a family business for so long, but there's so many people I meet here. Through being the exclusive Hammond dealer, I do a lot of custom programming in the Hammond. So I have so many wonderful people that are my clients. Some of them are my childhood idols I work with. And I've been on the road touring. I mean, I've toured with a lot of them also. And And now a lot of the bands that want me to go on the road and everything, want me to work, be on tour and stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to do 1 gig a month.
Yes.
I'm here 6 days a week. I love this place,
Yes, yes.
And,
this is a beautiful edifice that you guys have. This is awesome. I just love, you guys have so many different brands of so many different instruments. It's just, I mean, you guys do everything. You repair the instruments, you sell the instruments, which I think, like, even young people need to know, hey, like, there is an industry in music retail, selling the instruments, repairing the instruments, the behind the scene back office stuff. There's so many careers in music that may not always be at the forefront. It's such a diverse field of different areas that people can work in.
Yeah, well, we're hands-on. That's because we're different than anybody else. We were just notified, we were voted the best of Long Island, the best music store for the 10th year in a row. And that's because of our service. Anybody can buy something. Anybody can go on Amazon. Anybody can go to the big box stores and buy something out of a carton. Nothing in this store comes out of a carton. Any new instrument goes into the shop and gets serviced. Violins, guitars, Hammond organs. I do custom programming in the Hammonds. Everything gets worked on, and that's what sets us apart. You can't get service. We answer every phone call. There's no machines. It's old school, mom and pop shop.
Right.
And we're big. We have everybody that works here is a technician. There's no salespeople on the floor. My wife and I handle all the customers. And then if we get busier, my manager comes in the back, and she's on the repair tech, very well-known repair tech, and instrument builder. We don't just repair the instruments here, we build them also. And many times we'll bring in schools, before COVID, we're trying to get it happening again, where the music teachers would bring in their classes, and we'd give them a field trip in here, and we'd show them how we build and repair the instruments and work on everything. And
that's incredible.
Love doing that.
Who is some of your biggest influences along the way? On the Hammond, off the Hammond? I mean, who are the people that really you feel like played an intricate part in, like, shaping your sound?
I love Jimmy Smith, Jimmy Riff, and then when I was 11 years old, we started our first band called the Wavewalkers with medallions and little Beal haircuts, and then it's funny because I was playing organ and we had 4 pieces, and two of the musicians were drummers. So one would play hand percussion and sing, and the other one would play drums, and they'd switch off. Until we heard the Allman Brothers and bands with double drummers, and we realized we have 2 drummers already. And then we got into Southern rock, and when I was at 12, 13, the Allman Brothers, all those, Grateful Dead, Leonard Skinner, but the Allman Brothers are great. Traffic, all these bands, Led Zeppelin, Yes, and it was a great experience because we were doing private parties at the age of 12. We were playing like Sweet 16s and little kids' bar mitzvahs and stuff. And we were playing gigs already at 12 years old.
That is awesome.
It was fun.
That is totally amazing. I noticed, I love how you and your wife work together. And it's like you guys are like salt and pepper. And you guys have worked together in the business over the years. And I feel like you guys complement one another in such a wonderful way. What advice would you have for maybe couples who are doing music together and couples that maybe have a music business together? What advice would you have to give? And we can pull on your wife if she wants to answer.
She's in the back there. She's smiling.
I'll sit here. It's okay.
We want to hear from you too.
I'm the shy one.
Take the mic away.
How do we stay together? Okay. In order for families to work together, whether it's husbands and wives or brothers and sisters or parents, you have to be able to let stuff go. It's not important, really. You can't win all the time. You're not going to lose all the time. And if it's that serious, start laughing. Because you can't stay mad if you're laughing.
That's right.
We live together, we work together, we're married a really long time, and there are days I don't really want to talk to him. But we work together, so we talk. And it's just the way it is. I see him 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. He gets sick of me too. I get sick of him too. So
Can I add something?
Yeah, you can talk.
When you're right, shut up, and when you're wrong, apologize.
Famous words.
I'm very quiet because I'm always right.
Family businesses are dying. You know, it's unfortunate. It really is, because people's grandparents did something and maybe your parents did it and then you didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then you look back at your life as you get older and say, geez, why didn't I do that? That was fun.
Yeah.
You know? Legacy.
Legacy. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have legacy all over the store.
Yeah.
I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, the instruments and I love how you guys tell your customers the truth.
Absolutely.
You don't just, try to just tell them what they want to hear. You tell them, hey, the good, the bad, the ugly, and this is what I would do.
Well,
I love that.
You can't spend somebody else's money. And nobody spends my money.
Right.
I spend my money.
Right.
So if you ask a person what's comfortable, and then you give them the information for what's comfortable, they may want to go a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if they do that, that's up to them. But you can't show somebody a Rolls Royce if they can afford, a 1975 Toyota.
Yeah.
You don't do it.
That's right.
It's not fair.
That's right. That's right.
Make sure it plays. Make sure if it's a child using it, it's the right size, and it plays easy enough for them, and make sure they can grow with it. And if you're older like us and you want to take up something, make sure you get what you need. It's never too late to play.
So we always say, I'd rather have a $200 guitar that's set up and adjusted perfectly than a $2,000 guitar that's unplayable. That hasn't been adjusted.
Yeah. And anybody in here, anybody that walks in the door can take any guitar off the wall and play it, and they're adjusted. Any instrument, we rebuild instruments, we do everything. They can play anything, try it. We try and educate parents if they don't know, because your child doesn't know what to buy.
That's true.
And if you don't know, you have to trust the people you go to.
That's true.
We also ship all over the world. We have an eBay store and a Reverb store. We have a 100%, in 21 years we've been on there, 100% perfect record. Never one negative out of thousands, never one negative comment. Because we bend over backwards. We're old school. It's all about service. It's all about taking care of the customers. I'd rather not sell something than sell you the wrong thing.
And that's why you guys have repeat business, because people want to do business with people who are honest, and they just keep coming back because you guys show it's coming from the heart, and you guys are treating people like you would want people to treat your kids. Like, this is beautiful.
We can't retire. I'm ready to retire.
Yeah.
We can't, because there's nobody who does what we do.
No.
There's nobody who plays Hammond the way he does, or can explain to somebody how to play Hammond properly. I don't know anybody. And, there's nobody who can fix an instrument like we can fix them. That art is dying. And Scott teaching people on Zoom how to use, their keyboard.
Oh, yes.
He does Zoom with musicians on the road.
We need to talk about that.
When they buy an instrument from us, I used to teach, but people ask me, can I teach? I said, no. But if you buy Hammond or anything, I do all my custom programs.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I go over, whether it be on the phone or on Zoom or in person, I program and I show you what I've done. And when you buy a Hammond and you see my programs, and it depends on where you're coming from. When you get a Hammond, I talk to you totally different, because you're really, Hammond. then if somebody comes in and plays piano and they're not sure, and then I'll start and I'll explain what a Hammond is and drawbars. And when you see my programs, then you'll realize this is vintage and this is new. And you'll get just by looking at my programs, it'll give you an education where you can't get anywhere in the world. There's no other but people that program like I do. There's one other person at Hammond that does it, but there's no businesses. The Hammond,
that's why they call you the Hammond guy.
You're that guy.
And I'm ducking out of this conversation now, because this is about Hammond and this is the guy.
Can you tell the people the website, so they would, and the number and the address, so those that would love to buy a Hammond from you, they can do that, have it programmed, and all those beautiful things?
ScottRussMusic.com, SCOTTRUSS music, and we're 2170 Sunrise Highway in Merrick, right across the street, New York, right across the street from the Royal Railroad train station. And we're open every day except for Sundays. And
That's God's day. I know that's right.
Just give us a call the day you want to come, especially if it's about Hammonds. I'm always here, but I like to spend time with people. We don't just rush around, A few people left reviews about us. They said, make sure when you come to Scott Russ Music that you allow a lot of time, because they have so much stuff and so much information that you're not getting out of there quick.
No, you're not. No, most definitely. You got to make it a day. I love that. Where do you see the music industry headed for the future? There's so many new developments with AI and auto-tune, and people, in my opinion, I think taking shortcuts. What do you see for the future?
Well, I do see a lot of people still playing guitar and Hammonds and everything, but a lot of people are taking the easy way out. But you got to have a foundation first. You have to learn music. If you want to just have fun and just play around, and you have to build. My father just told me, have a foundation. You got to crawl, then you walk, then you run. Don't rush it. That's why young children learn so well, because they soak it in. They take the first step. Adults, they want to go to lesson 10 before they do 1 through 9. And you have to learn the basics.
Go through the process.
Yeah, but it has to be fun at the same time. I used to teach, and when I teach somebody about a hammer, we have fun doing it.
Yeah,
music is fun. When you go to a music class, you should have a teacher that makes it fun. Once in a while, you see some of these school teachers, the kids don't like to go to that class. Well, something major wrong, and the kids should say, "Wow, this is music. I can't wait to go and learn and have fun." Music is fun. Music is, and what music does for children. Tell you,
it's incredible.
It's amazing what it does for the brain. And
it's math, it's science, it's history, it's literacy. It's so many things wrapped in one.
When I was, I guess 3rd or 4th grade, I couldn't understand. I didn't like fractions, and I didn't like division. I hated it, as a matter of fact. I was scared. I was petrified for math, because I couldn't get the concept of fractions and division and percentages. I was going for a test, and I told my dad. He said, "What do you mean you don't know fractions and percentages?" So he took out some music. I started playing music at 4 1/2. He said, "Here's a waltz. What does that say? 3/4, 3/4." And he took 4 quarters and put it on the table. I said, "That's a waltz. Oh, by the way, that's 75 cents. That's 75%. And then here's a foxtrot. This is 4/4. That's 1." And he kept on doing that. And all of a sudden, the light bulb went off in my head. The next day, I went to school, and I got a 90 on the test. The teacher kept me after school and gave me a verbal test. Of course, I had to be cheating. How could, in one day, 24 hours, from knowing nothing, be nothing at all about fractions, get a 90?
That's incredible.
She thought I was cheating from Michelle Savino. My buddy, don't tell my wife. And she said, okay. And she thought I was cheating from Michelle. And
wow.
I said, no. And so I took 4 quarters, put them on the table, and she was a pianist teacher. I said, "This is a waltz, this is a foxtrot." And she said, "This is brilliant. I'm going to teach all my children who have problems that play piano or any instrument, they can read music. I'm going to use the music, the waltz and the foxtrot together."
That is incredible. Wow. What is one of the most challenging times in your life that maybe you've gone through and that you feel like really God brought you through, and it's gotten you to where you are today?
Well, 2.5 years ago, I got very, very ill, and I know that was God. I had massive blood clots in both lungs, and they told my wife and I that I was going to live to the day. I just put in God's hands and laid back and prayed, and still here.
Thank God you're still here.
Yeah. And some other times back, many, many years ago, years ago, it was in the 70s and 80s, there was so much drugs and alcohol, and it was like, especially in the 80s, it was crazy. People, everyone, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed that I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs.
What a blessing.
Drugs I do is a Tylenol. But I remember that how alcohol and drugs can affect you. I remember writing music many, many years ago. I'm a composer and everything, and my girlfriend at the time looked like Cher. We had a musical comedy act. We were 10 years, we were touring, we had a great thing happening. But I'd be writing music, that night and be drinking, whatever. And I'd say, this is like the next hit. And I'd be on this little plastic cassette recorder. Meanwhile, I have all this great equipment around me. And I'd say, this is definitely at least a top 10. It's amazing. And the next day I'd listen to it and say, this is the worst garbage I've ever heard. So people think they get more, into it. They're more, when they're drinking or doing drugs, whatever. Oh man, I go to a concert now, I write music, it's much better this way.
If you were to talk and encourage the audience, maybe somebody might be kind of on the edge of wanting to give up or kind of discouraged, could you leave them an encouraging thought?
Yeah, you got to keep trying. You got to keep, you have to be able to be turned down in life, just in life, but especially in the music industry. It's not easy. It really isn't. And you have to just keep going. And if you have faith in yourself and be true to your music, don't sell out. Do what you feel, do the music you love, and have good people around you. Surround yourself with good, positive people that aren't in just a hangout party, quote unquote party, because that gets you nowhere.
What would you tell that business owner that's kind of maybe a little discouraged, that wants to give up? What would you tell that business owner as an encouragement?
It is difficult these days. You have to find something that sets you apart from the rest. And the way we found it, which most other small businesses, is to give great service. That's what sets you apart. Jeff Bezos can't give you the service that we give you the service. People coming in with their guitars or their saxophone they bought for $250 online, and it's made of such soft metal, but the guitars are unplayable, the strings are so high, that it really bothers me. Not just, I'm not going to say any business names, but online, we'll just say, they have so many things that they sell just to make a buck, and they're cheap. This pastor told me one time, in every bargain you pay a price.
Oh, that is a quote right there.
Right? I heard that now one time.
Ooh,
so people bring in these instruments.
Good.
They bring in these cheap instruments, and they're made of terrible metal, and they save money, and they thought they got a nice shiny sax or flute or clarinet or guitar or whatever for their child. They saved their family money. Meanwhile, now that poor child doesn't know it, but they give up music because it's so difficult to play or impossible that they think it's them, and they get frustrated.
Wow.
Get a quality instrument. Or I always tell people, if you don't get a quality instrument, go right to chorus, which is great. I'm up with the chorus down. Don't play an instrument unless it's a quality instrument. It doesn't have to be that expensive.
Yeah.
But you can't buy used on like eBay and expect a flute to work and be clean without having it serviced.
I tell people all the time, you can't expect a Grammy Award-winning sound with a Radio Shack budget. Okay, you better go ahead and invest whatever you have to invest to make it happen. What is the greatest lesson your mom ever taught you?
My mom, I was very close with my family. My mom taught me just to be true to yourself and to be very honest and just do the next right thing. Because if you lie, you have to remember your lies. And even when I was younger, that's another job.
Yeah.
And my father used to say, this is before the Freddie Murdoch thing, he said, make sure you do it for billions, not even millions. So this way when you end up in jail, he said, well, at least I tried for a while. Of course he was kidding.
What was a great piece of advice that you feel like your dad gave you?
Well, that was it. I mean, if you don't lie,
that part, don't lie, both of them. Yeah, don't lie, period.
It's just, and my father, it's funny, at 5 years old, I had a private music teacher. My father wouldn't teach me. And when our twins were young, we wouldn't teach them, my wife and I. However, I learned more about music from my father than anybody, because he wasn't my quote-unquote teacher, but he would make music fun. We'd go on vacation, just drive the car, and say, Scott, spell me a C triad. Now do it on the third. Now do it on the fifth. Okay, now add a seventh. Now add a dominant seventh. Now add a major seventh. Give me a sixth. Give me an augmented. Spell these chords. And we made it a game. I did that with our kids, too. And I learned more about theory from having fun with music.
Wow.
And when I was younger, my teacher came in here, well, my piano teacher, when I was 11, he came in here maybe 10 years ago, and I said, Stanley, I have to make an amends to you. He said, why? He said, because I started teaching, I was like your worst student. He goes, I would be playing the classical stuff, which I really love, I should have stuck with, and my father would go upstairs, and I'd start playing blues, rock, and gospel. And my father would yell from there, hey, Scott, why don't you try practicing the things you don't know, rather than the things you do know? That was one of the major
Wow.
he taught me, and you know, and I did learn from that, but I didn't practice as much as I should have because I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
What was your father's favorite instrument?
He was upright bass.
Wow.
He was a monster upright bass.
Wow.
He played everything, but then later in life he played, and then he got into keyboard and singing. He had not a great voice. He had a style. He was a stylist, and he said, "Kids would pay me just my voice." He said, "I have a terrible voice," but he knew it. He was just a stylist. It wasn't a great voice, but and my mom and my dad used to do then charity work when. I mean, my father played with the biggest people,
wow.
And they would do charity work, and I would do that too. We'd go to nursing homes, and we'd go to. I remember one time at Camp Anchor right here. It's some disabled people and blind, all different types of disabilities. And I just got off the road off tour with my girlfriend, who was my singer, and you know we did love songs, together, writing songs. And my father got sick that day, and I had to go on stage and do songs with my mother and singing love songs. And I forget it. I'm singing, and I start looking, and I start singing love songs, and I said, whoa, this is weird. I said, okay, let's just do an act now. This is just my mother. I can't, you know. And so he's singing to a woman, yes. Love, you know, about yes. love songs. This is my mama.
I know that's right. Well, Scott, this has been a phenomenal time. Can you close us out with a song of your choosing?
Sure, just a nice blues thing.
Whatever you want.